Today CodeJourney is starting an adventurous lesson on CSS. We will be teaching on how to give text colors. Before we get started, we must learn the format of coding CSS. We will first start with the format in terms for inline CSS. Inside an inline CSS, which is the style attribute, there should be a property and value. Below is an example of the format inside the style attribute in the terms. The property defines the styling part you want to change, like example font size, colors, border and other styling properties. Values give our property a value. Example, our property is color, the value should be a color of your choice. It can be red, orange, yellow, green and much more. The CSS properties are only added into the elements that contains these properties and value in their style attribute. There can be any amount of CSS properties and even just 1, or 50. Now let's get started on giving text colors using inline CSS. To give text colors, our inline CSS should have a property of color. This defines that we are going to change the color of the text. Ensure that the color we are using is the American spelling. For our property's value, we should add the color we want it to be changed to. Remember that CSS properties are only added into the elements that contains these properties and value in their style attribute. The default colors for a text is black, just like in Microsoft Word. There are a total of 140 colors in HTML, and W3 School provide the full color list and you can view it yourself. Below here is an example of elements colors using inline CSS. Now we are going to use internal CSS to give text colors, so we will start with learning the format in terms first. Internal and external are actually the same, just that external shouldn't have the style tags and link it to your HTML file. Internal CSS have selectors and declarations, which have properties and values. Below are the format in terms of internal CSS. The selector defines the elements we want to style, basically selecting elements. The declarations are the properties and values inside the curly brackets. The declarations give styling to the selector we specified. We can have as many properties inside a declaration, just like in inline CSS. We can also have as much of selector in internal CSS. Now let's proceed with giving colors to text using internal CSS. We should set the selector to the element we want to give styling to. Selecting an element, example heading 1, will select all the heading 1 elements and gives the declaration styling. We will use the same property like how we use it for inline CSS. Use the color property and a random color for your value. Below is an example. The internal CSS selects all heading 1 elements and give it a color of red and also selects all paragraph elements and give it a color of blue. You can go through the preview on yourself and have fun experimenting with it. Next we will still be using internal CSS to give colors, but now we are selecting using classes and did. To give classes styling, selector should have full stop in front of class name. To give a class to element, add the class attribute to the elements you want, then add the class name. To give it to elements, add the id attribute for the elements you want, then add the id name. Below is an example. Multiple classes and id can be created and assigned to many elements. Below is an example you can analyze yourself. Which is the correct way to color text using inline CSS? The second option is wrong, as an attribute's value should be wrapped inside quotation marks. The first option is also wrong, as we use the equal sign to specify an attribute's value. Lastly, the fourth option is incorrect, as we should use a symbol to define the property's value. The correct answer is option number 3. Giving text colors using inline CSS. The instruction is asking us to create 3 paragraph elements with a text of your choice. The first paragraph should have a color of red, the second paragraph should have a color of yellow, while green color for the third paragraph. First of all, we create 3 paragraph elements with a random text. After that, I will add the style attribute for all the elements. For its value, I will add the CSS property called color. Now we will add the perspective colors for them. Question number 3. What should be our selector in internal CSS if we want to select all heading 2? Remember that selecting elements should not have any symbols in front of them. The suitable answer is the second option. The last question is to give text colors using internal CSS. We will follow the instructions step by step. First we will create the style elements and create the selector for our cyan class. Now we should give it the declaration of the color of cyan. Next, we create a selector for our green and give its declaration. Now I will add 2 paragraphs with a random text. Add the class cyan for the first paragraph, and add the green for the second paragraph. Now both of them are now colored. This is the end of this video. If you have been enjoying this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. We will be creating more CSS lessons soon.